day 12. I'm Jason Littrell, and today I wanted to talk about clarity. So I get a newsletter from a guy named Carl Bryan, and I guess he's my mentor because I get daily emails from him, and they're all just pretty much brilliant every single time. And today he was talking about clarity, and I just dropped off my kid at school, and I was just thinking about some of the things that I would need to gain, that some of the questions that I would need to ask to gain clarity on what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's oftentimes a very difficult thing. Like you could spend I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching and courses and worked courses and implemented courses, and still sometimes I lack clarity on what it is that I'm doing and what I'm supposed to be doing next. I mean, that's always the biggest question is what do I do next? What do I do now with the context of my business and what I'm supposed to be doing? So to ask a few basic questions to help you gain clarity is and to put some intense focus on what those things are will really help you get direction in what you're supposed to be doing today. And so some of the questions are things like, if you won $10 million, what would you do with that right now? And how would that change your life? What are three health goals that you have? What are three financial goals that you have? If you found out that you were going to be, that you're getting sick and you're going to die in a year, what would you do? And the net result of asking and answering these questions is that you kind of get a clear vision of what you're supposed to be doing. And it is a common thing that I say this quite often, that the hunter that chases two rabbits catches neither. And so I find myself chasing after creative things. Like I like to build things. I like to make things. Like this week, I already made an asynchronous podcast system so that people could put a voice to their brands. But the clarity that I have and that I had is that I want to live in the space between buyers and sellers. And it is a space that is murky. There's not a whole lot of information or context there. There's sometimes overt hostility between the two parties, and that is the kind of world that is the problem that I want to solve. It's not the hill I want to die on, but it's a big problem that I'd like to solve right now. And it's complex, and it will likely not be solved in my lifetime because, in the US we have the three-tier system, and that is combined and exacerbated by the fact that bars and restaurants are basically ATMs for local municipalities, and so anytime that the city needs cash, they either tax or enforce things on those small businesses, which I think is a huge contributor to the massive failure rate. I think it's something like 80% over 5 years. 80% of bars and restaurants are going to fail within 5 years, at least in New York. And so what I'm asking myself is if this is the world that I want to serve, what is the clarity that I need to serve them the best way possible? And so that's why I came up with all these ideas. Like, I really want to help put a voice to brand. Like the idea is to connect great brands with great businesses. It's not transactional. It's more like creating an ecosystem and facilitating the space between them. And so that's why we did, I want to put a voice to the brands. I want to help brand ambassadors, market managers, sales reps, and market, and just the people that hustle brands, especially entrepreneurs. I want to help them learn the things that they need to do so that they know exactly what to do today that will help them move the needle for their brand this week. So there are many other strategists. There are many people that are just really good at just doing brands. There are many people that are great at just doing bars. I kind of want to bridge the gap between the two and help them discover and embrace each other as business partners and as joint ventures, because at the end of the day they have the same customer. They all are just looking for the consumer and just making meaningful connections with their consumers. So brand owners are not buying 50 cases of well vodka and then drinking it all. They're selling it to somebody. Liquor stores are not buying 50 cases of vodka and selling it to and drinking it themselves. They are selling it, and that is likely going to be the same person. Or the same avatar of person. So if we are helping build more meaningful connections through education, through support, through accountability, then that's the place that I want to be at. And so what I've done is I've built a suite of services and products that help people with customer relationship management, that help with actually putting a voice to a brand, putting a face to a brand, and creating an opportunity for people to effortlessly market their brands, either through automation or through just innovation with using products that are intended for other verticals, quite frankly. Now, what I've seen is like with JLOS is the sales and marketing ecosystem, the sales and marketing automation ecosystem. What I've learned with that is that the veterinarians and chiropractors have been using this for decades. You ever get that slick experience where you register for an appointment at a doctor, and then you get a text immediately saying, "Great, you're confirmed. We're going to see you at this date at this time. Respond, cancel, or reschedule if you want to reschedule." And then if you do that, then it sends you another link saying like, "This is the link to reschedule." And that way that the doctor's time isn't wasted, and they can get as many reps in as possible, so they can make as much money as possible, so they can serve as many people as possible. So that's JLOS. Then the next thing that I think I might spend the next 3 hours on, which I have 3 unscheduled hours this morning, which is great. And I think I'll use that to build the brand builder mastermind. And then my first course that I'll probably build out there is about clarity. Asking the right questions to help you understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and why you're trying to be there. And then that, like, if it, the analogy is, if you have a map, and if you have where you are now, if you understand where you are now, if you understand where your destination is, then you can just draw a straight line, or as close to a straight line to get there as possible. But what ends up happening is we end up saying, here's where we are now. Now here's where we could be. Here's also where we could be. Here's where we should be. Here's where this person wants it. Blah 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on, and we end up taking years to get to a place that could have taken us not nearly as much of that time if we just had a straight line to that place. And so what it does is it just helps you, by having clarity, it really helps you say no to things that don't matter. And we oftentimes get sidetracked by saying yes to things like doing tastings at a place that is never going to buy your brand, or taking meetings with a brand that you're never going to carry. And so that's just very exciting and inspiring to me. And it's going to take a lot of work. I'll need a lot of help. But I have a team of VAs that are helping me build out the systems. Like, what I've done is just like systemize the ever loving shit out of my business, so that I can process long form content, so I can deliver courses, so I can deliver my sales and marketing operating system for bars and restaurants and brands, and just help this move at scale. Because on Monday I'm starting a job at Southern, so I won't be able to do any of this kind of stuff because I will be busy serving bars and restaurants, which is pursuant to my mission. So my mission is to, I will be working with brands to deliver excellent service and products to independent bars, while providing the independent bars a service that they desperately need without cost. So there's a lot that I don't know about the job yet, but I'm excited about it. It's basically, I get to train people and work with and learn about spirits and brands quite a bit. But what I've learned, generally speaking, is that good is not good enough. That's for sure. So good is not good enough, and you have to be having an exceptional spirit is just is the beginning of the entry of the game. And if you don't have an exceptional spirit, then you're just not even, you don't have the admission, and you don't have a ticket to enter the game. And then after that comes a good story, like a good reason why people would get behind it, whether it aligns with their values, their beliefs, their thoughts, their ideas, the ethos of their bar or restaurant. If your brand doesn't align with these things, then it doesn't really matter. And then there's also the technique element of it, of following up and generating meetings, generating excitement, developing relationships, stuff like that. I think that there is a shift in the rep community where it's shifting towards, it's very slowly shifting towards being an active service rather than being a transaction. So, for the buyers out there, take a second to listen to the story. Or at least, and for the sellers out there, give your buyers an easily consumable story, and then look for the no, look for the yes, and follow up like a maniac. Um, but yeah, so that's where I'm at today. It's all about clarity for me today. It's all about just asking tough questions and answering tough questions, and hopefully getting some understanding of what I'm supposed to be doing today. Like, ever since I implemented this project management system with my team in the last couple of days, it's been very eye-opening understanding the complexity of the process. But everything is a process. Everything is a process. Yes, it is a soft business as far as like relationships are concerned, but at the end of the day, most of the time that small brands are ever introduced to accounts is by meeting them for the first time. So, independent brands, they can't do out of home marketing, they can't do digital marketing, they can't do um, you know, email blasts. They can't. I mean, they can do email blasts, but they can't do like mailers. Or they can't do television advertising. So oftentimes, the first opportunity that they have to introduce themselves is through the distributor, and that's typically a borderline hostile relationship because people have, there's difference between sales reps, there's difference between marketing reps, and oftentimes that miscommunication leads to misunderstanding, and so if you're not putting a face or a name or a value to the brand, like as in values and beliefs, then you're just not going to get a chance. So that's kind of where my head is at right now. I'm very excited to help both the buyers and the sellers meet in a place that is equitable, fair, understandable, and is meaningful. So that's where I'm at today. That's if I had $10 million, I'd probably do exactly the same thing, except for scale it. That's scaling it would be the only thing that I would do. If I had three specific health goals, I would make sure that I went boxing every day before school, before I dropped my kid off at school, or I would prioritize physical exercise before. I would prioritize meditation. I would prioritize journaling. But generally speaking, if I had a ton of money, I probably wouldn't do anything differently because I love what I do, and this is the problem that I want to solve. I mean, I might be doing it from a beach. If I had a ton of money, I would probably be doing this from a beach, or I'd hire a team of people that could help me grow this vision to where I want it to be. But otherwise, it'd be pretty much exactly the same. I can't imagine doing anything different. All right, thanks. See you tomorrow.